Yeah. All right. So this is the next part of the training. Uh, this is optional, so you can think about it. But we find that it's very good going through this season. Is that if you can develop a learning contract, which is basically like goal setting. So just let me share with you. Oops, what's going on here? Okay, here we go. Now the purpose of this short module is to help you understand the importance of developing what I call a learning contract and goal setting. And then at the end of it, I'll share with you a simple form that I use also. That if you find it helpful, we encourage you to use that as well. Okay? Um, I like what Jesus said here very clearly. I have much more to say to you, more than you can now bear. But when the Holy Spirit comes, he will guide you into all the truth. In other words, there's so much for us to learn, and the Holy Spirit is going to teach us, and He wants to teach us. And I think if we develop what I call a learning contract, it will help us to focus our efforts in allowing the Holy Spirit to guide and teach us. And here's another thing that Jesus said: go and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And the main verb in this, what we call the Great Commission, is to go and make disciples, I suppose, in the same way that Jesus trained and mentored his disciples. And I think he expects us to do the same. And in that sense, Jesus modeled what his disciples should do and be, and I think we should do the same as well. Yeah. And here, this other verse in John 17, Jesus said, I brought you glory on earth by finishing the work you gave me to do. I found that very intriguing because, in one sense, Jesus' work is clearly not finished. I mean, there's so much still needs to be done. But he did finish the first phase of his work during his time on earth. And I think that's what he was referring to. In other words, the only reason he could say with such confidence that he had finished his work is that he must have been very clear what his father expected of him. And so I finished that particular segment of the work that I had to do. He had a specific task, a clear goal to accomplish. So by developing a learning contract, we're taking, in that sense, ownership of our own learning and growth, and we're asking the Holy Spirit to guide us. And of course, the best learning takes place when you have someone to hold you accountable. In other words, you share your learning contract. So we usually take 6 months at a time and say, in the next 6 months, what do I hope to learn? And try to put that into words of some kind. And then, of course, this is the offer that I'm making to you. In addition to these volunteer training sessions, would you like to have a 30-minute accountability session once every 2 months? Just to review your learning contract and see how you're going. So that's quite separate from the visitation that we're doing. So that's, in that sense, what is on offer. Yeah. So if you would like to do this, then, in the month ahead, what I'd like you to do is to take stock of your own life and identify 2 or 3 areas where you would like to learn and grow. And we suggest setting a personal goal and a professional learning goal. So I will, I will share when I share with you the template of what we're doing. I will share with you my own personal and professional learning goals to give you an idea about this. But if you have a long list of things you'd like to learn, and as you sit down to think, there may be quite a lot. We just want to focus, so we just select the top 2 or a maximum 3 personal goals and your top 2 professional goals, 2 or 3. The whole idea is that not that the other goals aren't important. We probably have lots of things we want to learn, but having a particular focus is helpful. And of course, once you show me your first draft, we will talk about it. Our goal should be specific and measurable. That means to say we should know whether we've achieved these things and we've learned these things. So there's a way in which we can gauge our growth, if you like. And of course, as you share them with me, the goal should be challenging in one sense. It should stretch you a little bit, but not so challenging that it's unrealistic. So we'll talk about that and help you refine that. And of course, there's a time frame. I'm suggesting 6 months with a 3-month midpoint evaluation. And then, of course, as part of the written goals, you will state who will help you monitor your progress at so-called these checkpoints along the way. Okay, so it's writing out a learning plan. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. And as part of that, you will include the strategies and actions that you will use to, if you like, the little steps that will help you towards this goal. And again, finally, my invitation. If you would like to see this, so I'm going to show you the whole, as it were, training plan that we've mapped out. And so part of it is this developing a learning contract. It's an optional part of the training. Okay, let's see if I've got anything else. So a quick summary. Basically, if you develop a learning contract, you're taking responsibility for your own growth and learning. And the best way to keep learning and growing is to find, a mentor and a small group of like-minded peers who will hold you accountable. Yeah. Our goals should be specific, challenging, yet realistic, and with a time frame. And as I said, someone to hold you accountable. Yeah. I think this is part of taking care of yourself as we seek to have a consistent, caring ministry. So that's my brief training for today.